Good morning. Whenever we gather in this sacred space, it is made more sacred by the presence and attention of each and every one of us. Whether we are here in the sanctuary or attending by live stream from places far and near, or viewing sometime in the future, we are here together. I invite us now to turn to the camera and wave to our live streaming friends. Let us take a moment now to greet one another.
Welcome to this morning's worship at the Winchester Unitarian Society, a beacon of liberal religious values in the Mystic Valley. My name is Liz Lintz, and I'm honored to serve as your worship associate this morning. Our story began in 1855 with a little Sunday school that sought to nurture children's innate curiosity and teach a faith built on love, not fear, and on affirmation rather than condemnation. Today, we carry on that legacy by gathering in the spirit of open inquiry and radical inclusion. We welcome all people, regardless of age, ability, religious, socioeconomic, or cultural background, race, immigration status, sexual orientation, or gender identity. In that spirit, whether you're here with us in person or joining via live stream, we welcome you with open hearts and gratitude for the gifts you bring. Before we begin worship, we have a few announcements. The Fellowship and Green Sanctuary Committees invite you to gather after worship today at noon in the parlor to learn about and explore the crucial and possibly transformative role that solar power must play in our energy and climate future. We will watch the 30-minute documentary, The Lights Will Not Dim, featuring Bill McKibben, followed by a conversation about his newest book, Here Comes the Sun. This book was selected by the Fellowship Book Group last fall as its first read, but you do not need to have read the book to attend. Soup and snacks will be provided. Also, after the service today at noon, you are invited to join our newly convened membership task force in the Mickelson Room for a conversation about strengthening and growing our congregation. The task force's work is grounded in our desire to sustain our legacy of the last 150 plus years, to share our Unitarian Universalist values more broadly, and to continue our work building the beloved community. At today's meeting, our UUA congregational representative, the Reverend Evan Carville-Ziemer, will speak about membership trends in the UUA and offer practical insights. And our trends and benchmarking team, led by Woody Wood, will share findings from their study of our church's historical data. Please join the task force for this very interesting and important conversation. Lastly, if you're new to our congregation, we would love to get to know you better. Please take a moment to fill out a visitor card from the pew rack in front of you, if you haven't done so already, and place it in the collection plate when we collect the offering later in the service. We look forward to connecting with you. Now let us open our hearts and minds to the spirit of worship.
We speak to the God, the goddess, the spirit of life, the eternal. We speak to the mysterious thread that connects us to one another and to the universe. We speak to the deep wisdom at the center of our beings. We embody the yearning of all people to touch each other more deeply, to hear each other more keenly, to see each other's joys and sorrows as our own, and know that we are not alone unless we create solitude for ourselves. And even then, community awaits us. Out of our yearning, we have come to this religious community. May we help each other to proclaim the possibilities we see, to create the community we desire, to worship what is worthy in our lives, to teach the truth as we know it, and to serve with justice in all the ways that we can, to the end that our yearning is assuaged and that our lives are fulfilled in one another. May Maker Seal's words lead us now into this sacred time and space. Come, let us worship together.
I now invite Jeremiah forward to light our chalice as I read the words for our chalice lighting, which are adapted from the Soul Matters Renewal Worship Resources. We light this chalice as a reminder that rest and renewal are part of our spiritual life. Like the earth in winter, we too experience times of quiet and slowing. In this intentional dormancy, we remember that rest is not idleness. It is nourishment for the soul and resistance to unchecked busyness. May this flame guide us into stillness, renewal, and deeper awareness, so we might return to the world refreshed in heart, mind, and spirit. Now, please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our opening hymn, Seed of Hope. The words are printed in your order of service.
While some of you have already met her, we are excited to introduce to you our newest staff member, Amelia Pellegrini. The Standing Committee hired Amelia in December to be both our Assistant Director of Youth Ministries and our lead nursery caregiver on Sunday mornings. Amelia has already started her work both with the youth group and with our nursery children on Sunday mornings. Welcome, Amelia.
Amelia recently graduated from Boston College, where she majored in English and philosophy. She's currently in her first year at Harvard Divinity School, where she is studying the intersection of spiritual formation and education as she pursues her Master of Divinity degree. Amelia, we are excited to welcome you into these two important roles in the life of our community.
In a moment, we will read together the congregational affirmation shown on the screen. As we speak the affirmation, we invite everyone to raise a hand in the air to extend a blessing. Those at home are invited to raise your hand close to your screen, sending your love through the interconnected web of life. Let us begin. Amelia, we welcome you to Winchester Unitarian Society and your roles in leading, nurturing, and ministering to our children and youth. We pledge to support you in your work with the young people of our congregation.
Yeah, what a beautiful welcome. Thank you, everybody. My first few weeks here in Winchester have been filled with the magic of the holidays and the warm greetings that your community has offered me. I've been lucky enough to already have met many of the youth and children here, and I'm excited to get to know the rest of you. I'm looking forward to growing and serving in love alongside this community. So thank you.
We look forward to a long and meaningful relationship between you and our congregation. We are so glad that you are here. I now invite Brenna up to lead us in our first reflection.
I'd like to invite those who are young and young at heart to come forward for a story. Come on up. Good morning, everybody. So who remembers the UU value that we gave a number 1 to? Who remembers which one it is? Does anyone remember? This one? Which one? What's it called? Lua. Transformation, right. So but we cannot transform from nothing, right? We need to start as what? What is it that starts a sprouting? A seed, right, Cora, a seed. So, I'm sorry, I can't read. I'm getting old. A seed eventually sprouts and changes or transforms into a healthy plant, right? From a sprout to a plant, right? So the plant part is important, right? Is the plant part important? Yeah. I mean, we need plants. We got to eat them to survive, right? It's important to us. And the growing, is that part important? Is your growing important to you, that you're growing? Yeah, it's pretty important. What about this part? Is that part important? What do you think? Is the part where you're not growing, where you're waiting and resting? Yes, Olson says a hearty yes to that. So I agree. In fact, this time of year is the perfect time to start your transformation process. It's cold and snowy, or at least rainy. Everywhere under the ground are seeds resting. So let's lay like seeds. I want you to lie on your side and pull your knees up into your chest. Okay? There you go. That's it. Everybody gonna lie like seeds? All right. Okay, good job. Okay, now, lay quietly. Breathe in and out. But don't move, not yet. What are you thinking about? Are you thinking about growing? Okay, grow enough to come back up to a seated position. Did you rest? What did it feel like to rest?
It hurt a little and soft a little.
It was hurt and it was a little soft too. I think that's probably a pretty accurate representation, yeah, of what I feel anyway. So what would happen to a seed that started to grow right now in the middle of the winter? What would happen to that little sprout? What's that, Cora? It would die immediately, pretty much. It would be really, really almost impossible for a sprout to survive in this weather, right? I don't think it was outside in the snow. That's my guess. But anyway, any sprout outside that tried to poke itself up into the cold, cold air would probably have a hard time, right? So,
Underground and it didn't grow not much like I do, then it might stay under the ground and
yeah,
from the ground, and then
right.
summertime it might sprout up.
Exactly. So staying in the ground now is really important, right? To wait till later to sprout up into the air when it's warmer. That's a really good point, Olson. So that's why the seeds and most of nature in general kind of know just when to rest and when to grow. Humans, we're not so good at that. We're not so good at knowing when to rest. Have you ever had a grown-up in your house say to you, "Go to bed already. Go to sleep. Why aren't you going to sleep?" Has that ever happened? Yeah, let me see. Raise your hand. Oh my gosh, almost every single one of you. Wow. So what do you think, I'm sorry, what do you think is the reason for that? I mean, why don't you want to go to bed? Why don't you want to rest? I mean, the world is a pretty exciting place, right? It's hard to let go of it.
I don't want to rest, especially for me, because then you just miss out on life.
Oh, you're going to miss out on something. That's a really good point. It seems like you're going to miss out, and then you want to stay up forever. But what happens when we get so excited that we start to feel kind of icky, right? There's such a thing as too much excitement, right? When we start to feel kind of yucky, right? And that is when we can get cranky, right? Something that we thought we wanted, we get too much of. Like a seed that wants to grow too soon, right? It pokes its head up and says, "Oh gosh, it's pretty cold up here," right? So we humans, we do a lot of doing, and we get worked up so that everything that we're doing isn't fun or helpful anymore. It can make us want to, like a sprout in the winter. It can make us wilt just like that. And the sprout can't turn around and decide to be a seed again, right? You can't go back in, right? There's no going back. Rest time is over. When a butterfly hatches from a cocoon, can it go back into the cocoon? Can it go back to being a caterpillar? No, it can't, right? The caterpillar made a cocoon to rest and to transform into a butterfly. So even though we aren't caterpillars or butterflies, and we don't live in the ground, waiting for the sun to warm us up like seeds do, humans also need rest. We also need to have some stillness like you had right here for just a second. Maybe not as long as seeds do, okay? Seeds are in the ground for a long time, right? But maybe longer. It depends on the person, I suppose. So when you're zooming around your house at bedtime tonight, think of yourself curled up like a seed. Give your grown-ups a break, and your body a break, and you and your brain a break, and try being still for just a little while. You just might like it. You might feel rested and safe and ready to transform tomorrow. I invite the grown-ups to sing us to religious education. The words are in your order of service.
All right, in preparation for our prayer time, just like we did with the children, I invite everybody to form a seed ball on the ground. No? Okay. Instead, I invite you to get settled into your space. Maybe you close your eyes. Maybe you ground yourself by placing both feet on the floor. Maybe you take a deep breath in and out. As most of you are probably aware, Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agent Jonathan Ross killed Renee Good 4 days ago in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Her death was horrific and completely unnecessary, and the federal government's response has been appalling. As we struggle to figure out how to respond to yet another in a long line of immoral deaths caused by the policies and practices of the current administration, let us take a moment of silence to honor Renee's life and to send love and care to her family and loved ones. May we continue to resist injustice everywhere in the many varied ways we do so, from active protest to our engagement with rest as resistance this morning. In that spirit, let us now reflect together on these words by Margaret Kipe, titled Prayer for Desert Times. The journeys of our lives are never fully charted. There come sometimes to each of us deserts to cross, barren stretches where the green edge on the horizon may be our destination, or an oasis on our way, or a mirage that beckons and will leave us lost. When fear grips the heart or despair bows the head, may we bend as heart and head lead us down to touch the ground beneath our feet and scoop some sand into our hands and receive what the sand would teach us. It holds the warmth of the sun when the sun has left our sight, as it holds the cool of the night when the stars have faded. And hidden among its grains are tiny seeds at rest and waiting, dormant yet undefeated. Desert flowers, they endure. Moistened by our tears and by the rain that comes to end even the longest drought, they send down roots and they bloom. Oh, may we believe in those seeds and the seeds within us. May we remember in our dry seasons that we too are desert flowers. You may come forward and light a candle now if you wish. Let us kindle the light. We have two readings this morning. The first is excerpts from an article titled "The Case for Doing Nothing" by Olga Mecking. She wrote, "Running from place to place and laboring over long to-do lists have increasingly become ways to communicate status. I'm so busy because I'm just so important, the thinking goes. Perhaps it's time to stop all this busyness. Being busy, even if we are busy, is rarely the status indicator we've come to believe it is. Generally speaking, our culture does not promote sitting still, and that can have wide-reaching consequences for our mental health, well-being, productivity, and other areas of our lives. Technology doesn't make it any easier. The smartphone you carry with you at all hours makes it almost impossible to truly unplug and embrace idleness. There is a way out of this madness, and it's not more mindfulness, exercise, or a healthy diet, though those things are still important. What we're talking about is doing nothing, or as the Dutch call it, niksen. What is niksen? Niksen means to take conscious, considered time and energy to do activities like gazing out of a window or sitting motionless. In other words, whether at home or at work, permission granted to spend the afternoon just hanging out. I think we've forgotten to do things in our lives just because. Everything has to have a philosophy behind it these days. I think that's a pity because it takes a lot of pleasure out of life. If you're doing nothing, own it. When someone asks you what you're doing during a nothing break, simply respond, nothing. Be unapologetic about taking breaks or holidays, and if you start to feel guilty about being seen as lazy, think of niksen not as a sign of laziness, but as an important life skill. Choose the initial discomfort of niksen over the familiarity of busyness. Here ends our first reading.
Our second reading is excerpts from a blog post titled "Rest as a Practice of Resistance and Freedom" by LaShawn Rute Chapman. As another defiant, unprecedented year draws to a close, I must confess that as a Black woman, leader, mother, and Oaklander, I struggled initially to pen this final post of 2021. I have not been feeling easeful or reflective. I have not yearned for stillness. Instead, I'm feeling activated and indignant at the continuous violence, disregard, weaponization, and injustice unfolding at all levels of public systems. I'm dismayed by the acts of desperation and indifference to human suffering I'm witnessing in my city and in communities across our country, the result of neglectful and depraved systems. I'm incensed by the mega-funded conservative campaign to protect whiteness and its associated myths of supremacy and feigned benevolence currently being waged to maintain control of public education as a tool of mass conformity and compliance. I'm horrified by the relitigation of reproductive justice in the courts in 2021. Each of these is an active threat to attaining a multiracial, pluralistic democracy. What we choose to be, do, resist, proclaim, and demand right now matters. Hanging in the balance of these overt attacks is our shared future, our possibility to manifest the beloved community. With all that in mind, Chapman continues, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but we need to rest now. Rest and reflection can fuel the kind of leadership that is required of us. Rest makes it possible to see more than pain and injustice. Rest expands our view, enabling us to notice historic victories in the midst of battle, to see the power and effectiveness of multiracial, cross-generational coalition building for shared values and public goods. It helps us behold how quickly people can mobilize when the structures fall away. That it is, in fact, possible to redesign our structures for equity. Rest and reflection help us notice that we are not alone in the work, that the struggle for freedom is not an individual pursuit, but one born out of collective consciousness and action. Rest brings a needed perspective that even when it is dark, the sun is always in the sky. The blog post closes with this quote by Audre Lorde. Caring for myself is not self-indulgence. It is self-preservation. And that is an act of political warfare. Put simply, rest is resistance.
What calls us forth when dormancy arrives? What calls us forth when dormancy survives? What calls us forth from that place we inhabit? What reminds us who we are? What tells the seed, now, it is now that you must sprout? Sometimes the call is as clear as day. The sun shines to break the dark. The rain falls, imposing on the endless sun. The shell cracks open with no choice but to emerge. Other times it's as clear as mud, which is to say, not at all, not at all. We wonder, we do not know. Is now the time to answer the call? Sometimes it's painful. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Sometimes it's like a maze. But what if there is life? We see the fallow field, nothing growing, no plants, no leaves. Not barren, though, just renewing, resting between crops. We see the mountaintop, no ashes, no hot magma, no molten lava flowing. Out of sight, though, the heat maintains. Woe those who think they're safe, the volcano lives. What if there is life? Head bowed, eyes down, it seems like hope there's not. Back bent, arms crossed, defeat. The burning coal within remains, though, invisible to you, to me, yet warming from deep within. What if there is life? The desert sand no life could hold. Heat burns the bare foot touching. Empty, lifeless, nothing there. But wait, desert seeds, dormant, yet undefeated. There is a time for resting. A field needs rain and sun to thrive. There is a time for resting, sometimes stillness, peace, the needs of our soul define. There is a time for resting. Drought in the desert is no time to grow. Dormant, yet undefeated. No one mocks the bear. We accept hibernation. That is its nature. 'Twould be foolish, would it not, for a bear to try to stay awake? If such a bear there were, and that bear could also talk, we'd say, why? Why make yourself stay awake? You are supposed to sleep. That's what you need. Does anyone say that to you? Have you received this invitation? Dear friend, please stop. You must indeed. Please don't help our organization. Please don't volunteer. Please do less for us at work. Please do less, not more. No one has said that yet to me as far as I recall, except it is sometimes exactly, precisely our need. The rest sometimes a great relief. Sometimes we've worked too hard. Sometimes the challenges, the outside needs, too much, far too much. Sometimes parched for rest we are, like sun-baked soil for water, in desperate need. Other times not our choice. We want more friends, they are not to be found. We would choose not to be single, and yet there is no romantic partner. Perhaps we want to move, to flow, to be, and yet an illness keeps us from being free. Sometimes it's pain and trauma that forms a wall. Self-worth and love still there, but so much fear. We cannot trust, we cannot be. Connection still a possibility, yet walls remain. Love, like desert seeds, though dormant, always undefeated. What lies dormant, not always good, like a volcano anger can be. Bad enough when its recipient an adult who can make choices. When children bear the brunt, true misery. Resentment, unforgiveness, we hold on to it for years. A certain sound, a certain smell, the pain and hurt right on the surface, dormant no more. The Buddhists have a point about letting go. It's not always the right time, and our culture, busy, busy, busy. Do now, be now, jump now, move now. Faster, faster, more, more. But it's not always the right time. Stillness, there is a need. Stillness, there is a time. Not all is as it seems. The trees outside, they have no choice. Winter does not ask them, "Are you ready for me, please?" They do not get to say, "Oh, but I have one more branch to grow." They do not get to say, "Please, just a few more leaves." They get a warning with the fall, and then comes the cold. No choice at all. Barren to the naked eye, yet full of life, vibrant, spry. Perhaps we humans might do better if subject we were in the same way to weather. We used to be, you know, it's true. Before gas and pipes and oil tanks, before each night was lit electricity, dark used to mean time for bed. We prepped for winter, then put down our head. A snowstorm meant that all work stopped. Now we plow. Off our course we're barely knocked. Bound to the seasons we were, all this before technology. Now it's always on. We could work through night till dawn. There is no nature that makes us stop. Who is going to invite you? Your pets? Your kids? Your work? Do you see an invitation, words or letter, email or text? Will someone else suggest you stop? Now hear me. I report to the congregation's standing committee. If you all submit tomorrow that you need time off from all responsibilities, that would not be good for you, for us, for me. But this is a place where you can step back from time to time. We are a place where you can say, I really need right now just to be. We are a place where you can say, right now, I just need to breathe. Breathing. Oh, breathing. Would you, right now, breathe with me? In and out. Sometimes in our life, breathing is what we need. The time, the space, the restfulness. To untrained eye, in action it may seem, but deep inside we know the truth. It's our desperate need. Breathe in. Breathe in the dreams. Deep inside they live. Different, each of us. Often common themes. On the way, many things. Things we choose, things unchosen. Dreams remain. They get fulfilled. They open the horizon. Breathe in. Breathe in the hope. Hope remains despite attempts. Some think hope can be ended. Institutions like slavery, hope will not be denied. Immigration brings difficulty. Hope cannot be deported. Racism scoffs at liberty. Realistic of the problems, hope remains unthwarted. Breathe in. Breathe in the love. Sometimes we lose our way. We lose the love of someone else. Love never goes away. We lose the love inside ourselves. The skies seem awfully gray. Love never truly leaves, though sometimes we forget. Community such as we can provide the reminder. Each of us, including you, inhabits worth and dignity. The time be now, the time be not. Only you shall know. Dormancy good can bring, intentional or not. Oftentimes we fall into it, and that is quite okay. Encouragement you have from me to also at times choose this way. Like the butterfly inside cocoon, time it takes, to ourselves we must attune.
Our weekly offering is an opportunity to respond to the abundance we've received, a moment when we transform our gratitude into action and make our values visible. This week, our Share the Plate recipient is the Refugee and Immigrant Assistance Center. Details regarding the important work of this organization and how to give are printed in your order of service and will soon appear on screen for online participants. The offering will now be generously given and gratefully received. Those who wish to do so are invited to join in the unison affirmation. We gather not for ourselves alone, but to use our common power to build the beloved community within and beyond these walls. We create and reaffirm this covenant this day to make justice flourish, to practice compassion amidst difference, and to embody transformative love. Now, please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our closing hymn, number 352 in the gray hymnal, Find a Stillness.
Friends, there is much that is calling us to resist in our country and in the world in these times. The call today is not to inaction, but to finding the balance, to making sure that we care for ourselves and those around us so that we can help make the world a better place. Go and be blessed and be a blessing. Amen.
Please read with me the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry on our hearts until we are together again. Our service has ended, but our life of service continues. Please join us for refreshments and conversation in the Sims room.